Good morning, this is Vicki.
And this is Jo.
And we're the Two Natural Ladies.
And we talk about the good news we all need and ways of getting the most out of life.
We discuss practical, uplifting ways we can all make a difference.
Striving for better, not perfect.
And we love a good laugh over the next 2 hours or after. We would love you to send us anything you would like to discuss via our Facebook page, Two Natural Ladies, TWO. We will check in throughout our show. So, Vicki, people have been asking us, who are the Two Natural Ladies and what are we all about?
Well, shall we do a track down memory lane, a bit of days of our lives?
I think that would be wonderful. So where do we start?
Oh, I think, back in the day.
Yes.
Late 1991 perhaps.
Yes.
Let's start there.
All right.
So I was working at the Healthier Living Show. I had joined a company and it was an Australian company, and I was promoting eco-safe products at this show. And I was just looking around and it actually doesn't exist anymore, does it? The
no,
show?
It doesn't. No, unfortunately, because it was a good show from memory.
Yeah. So I was sort of looking around to see who I could talk to next, and there were these two lovely, beautiful ladies walking by with their children in their pushers, and I don't know what came over me. I just jumped out and said, "You need this."
Yes, and I was one of those beautiful ladies pushing the pusher with my girlfriend Christine, and I thought, no, I don't. And Vicki was fabulous, and she chatted to my friend Christine, and Christine did end up buying what was a pre-soak, and then gave it to me when we left. Gave me some in her Milo jar with no Milo. And I tried it and loved it. And not only that, my baby's bottom, because I was using cloth nappies, and my baby's bottom was no longer red.
Wow.
So I wanted to order a lot more. And Vicki got one of her consultants, Diane, to come over. And Diane just explained, because I wanted the laundry powder and the cleaning, because I had 3 young kids, and I was looking for something. I had been looking for something that was environmentally safe before children. So since I was, moved out of home at 20, 21, whatever it was, and then couldn't find. I used stuff, but it just never worked. Hence why I didn't believe you when you jumped out in front of me, or us, and. Then finding something, I was just so happy, and it was safe around my kids. And then my eldest son, his eczema got better. So it was just, I'd fallen in love. And so this lady, Diane, who came around, said, look, it'd be cheaper if you become a consultant. You could just save yourself a bit of money. And why don't you just invite your friends and family over? And you actually came along to that, didn't you?
I did, yes. Yeah.
And there were so many people, they were sitting on the floor, because we didn't have a very big house.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people I had, but, we sold over $1,000, which in those days, this was in 1991, was a lot of money. And 2 people decided that they wanted to do what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. And that was on your absolute raw excitement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, so I was so excited that I then said to you, I'm going to contact Women's Weekly and everybody. And, you said, well, look, it may not work. And you were right 99% of the time. However, I did contact a radio station, an ABC radio station, and it was with Terry Lane, because I used to, when I was driving, picking up my kids from kinder, Terry Lane would be on, and I loved him. And one day he said, I would love to have, what were they called? Press release. I would love a press release. I love them. So I went home not knowing how to do a press release. I think I must have found out some information, put together a press release.
Because you couldn't Google it in those days.
No, that's right. Somebody must have told me something about how to, probably Dad, actually, my dad. And then, so I sent off by snail mail, because that was the only way you could do. I sent off a brochure and some information and the press release. heard nothing. 2 weeks later, I rang the studio and Terry Lane answered. Now, that would be unheard of now. You would never get a presenter to... I mean, would we pick up the phone if somebody rang us? Well, we probably would. But anyway...
We're friendly.
We are. So, yeah, anyway, he was interested in doing a interview because he just opened up Newcastle, which is where the products are manufactured. The owners come from there. And so, yeah, that was the beginnings.
It was the beginning. So what was I doing then? The beginning of a beautiful friendship, which we didn't really know at that time.
We had no idea.
No. But, I've got down here 1992.
Yes.
So, okay, so yes, I must have been pregnant at part of that time because then my baby was born.
Yes.
My first. So you had 3 and I just had my first baby.
Yes.
And, you can imagine having a first baby. I was just completely wherever I was.
Yes.
And there was Jo with her briefcase in my hospital room going, right, now let's get on with business. Cute baby and all that, but, And I'm like, okay.
I think your husband at the time took me aside and decided maybe, Jo, I'll look after this. I was so excited and just had questions coming out of everywhere. And I guess one of the things was that, I didn't let anything stop me.
No.
And I was willing to just, which obviously was the same for you. And I think that was one of the things that we saw in each other was this raw excitement, this willing to go for it and never quit. And I just, when anybody asked me a question, I would contact you. And again, we didn't have email and stuff like that.
No.
So I did have to ring you or see you physically. So it was like, oh, she's out of action. No, I've got to go see her. So, yeah. And then in 1993, I introduced you to the Landmark Forum, which is a course that I'd done in 1984, which is amazing that I did it that long ago. And I think that was also a turning point for us because...
you fixed me.
I did. All this time I'd been thinking there's just something wrong with that woman. And so, yes. But it was... What's great about the courses you do there is that it's all about the being of human being and seeing that we are all human and that we do have all these foibles. Now, we have worked out that together we're the perfect person.
Yes.
But individually we may have a couple of little hiccups here and there, you know.
Yeah.
So it really, and it keeps you, I think it keeps you honest. And I think that's one of the things. I mean, we've had moments, when we were travelling last year that I wanted to strangle you, and I'm sure there are moments that you think, oh my God, that woman. However, we created such a bond, and we were running meetings and doing trainings and while raising our kids, and we had, but we also had more or less to do with each other over years too, didn't we?
We did, yes. We've had, I suppose, life took us in different directions. You already had your 3 children, and you were very, very busy, and then I got engrossed in my 4 children, and you had your 4th.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. So in 1996, I was pregnant with my 4th, and due to some stuff that was going on with the company, I, in children's term, cracked it. And basically, for the next 5 years, I did very little other than I looked after my children, and I looked after my customers. I also did have my number 3 child, James, was such an easy baby. My number 4 child was not such an easy baby. And even when I tried to, by that stage, we must have had computers, because I remember when he was about 2, I'd try to get a little bit of work done on the computer, and he'd be on my lap wanting to do it with me. So he just wasn't the kind of child that was really going to let you do anything.
No.
So, but I did keep the business going, and you were amazing because you were forever positive, and you'd check in with me and you'd say, "Hi, Joe, you know, this is happening, that's happening," and I go, "Yep, okay, speak to me again in 6 months' time." So, you know, and then in 2001, that our company launched a skincare range, and you actually had Michael in a capsule.
I did. So that was my third baby, and he was in one of those, you know, the old U-Beauty. I don't know whether they're around anymore, but the U-Beauty baby capsule.
Yeah, no, I don't think they have them anymore because you're not supposed to carry them around, I think, in capsules.
Capsules, yes.
Which we did all the time.
Yes, forgive us.
Yes.
So I'd invited you to meet this new wonderful general manager, and she ran a couple of trainings. But we had dinner with her. I remember having Michael under the table in the capsule. Should I say that on air?
No, I think that's one of the great things about the business we're in is that you can have your baby under the table in a capsule or maybe in a pusher or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah,
he was being looked after. That's the thing.
He was very close to me, and that was actually a beginning of another beautiful friendship because we became friends with Tracy.
We did. Yeah.
So that was amazing. So we were back on track.
Yes.
And we got the band back together. Basically,
we did. And that was a time of real creation for us, wasn't it? And has continued, where the brainstorming and the ideas. And one of the amazing ideas we had, which wasn't that long after, was to run a big fundraising event in 2002, which was called Christmas in July.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So where I've lost my spot, Joe.
That's okay. We had around 150 people. We raised over $1,500, which again was a good amount of money. And Philip Brady, who was a radio personality, happened to be there, and my husband Frank was the MC, and he found Philip Brady and got Philip Brady involved. And so Philip Brady did a bit of MCing for us, and we had a raffle, and we had these little scrolls that we'd put together where people would buy them, little auction items where they would buy a scroll, not knowing what they were going to get. And of course, we had the wonderful Diana Gloss and the Sue Praise.
That was amazing.
Yes. We had this wonderful woman who was able to put together fabulous words to the song Stop, You Can Save the... Well, we called it Stop, You Can Save the Earth. I can't even remember what the name of the song is. Stop. What is it? Stop.
In the name of love.
In the name of love. There you go. So, and one day we may sing that for you. And yes.
So that a shout out to Imelda Evans.
Oh,
yes. She pulled us all together. We practiced and rehearsed.
We did. We had the moves all handled and what we had to say and it was an amazing event. It was at the Savoy Hotel in Brighton, which is where my husband and I got married. So there you go.
Yeah.
So, and then we just continue growing and coming up with amazing ideas and doing amazing things. And
I just want to say, Joe, that you're just listening to us reminisce that I've learnt a lot from you. I still do. I still learn a lot from you, and you've kept me motivated over the years because you had a real drive in you, and that's morphed and changed over the years and come and gone. But when I first met you, you had a real drive in you, and you pulled me out of places, because I would retreat, and yeah.
Well, I think the thing is that my background was welfare work. My mum and dad, my dad was a school teacher, my mum was a welfare worker, and I then went into youth work. So the world of business was never in my radar. But when I found something that I loved, the fire in my belly was just like, I want the world to know about this. And I still do. And so I think that was it. And yeah, I guess I just didn't have, at the time, it was like, who cares what people think? I'm just going out there and doing it. And I think that's what kept me going at the moments when people would see this, what they thought hippie, trippy, dolphin-loving, water-birthing baby person. What was she doing?
Yeah. And that's right. And how we connected. I mean,
Yes.
I've got a father who's an entrepreneur. So, and I think that it's in my blood, that entrepreneurial thing. But with that eco and health focus, just a different focus. And so... but it's interesting because you and I connected so strongly through business, not meaning to. We just did. And so I see you differently to how others see you. You're saying about your family sees you as this hippie, trippy person, and I see you as this very strong business person.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that's the whole thing, and that's one of the things that I realised too, was that it was often better to get you to speak to my people, because they would listen to you differently than they listened to me, because, as you said, people who knew me were like, had boxed me in a certain way, which is what we all do.
Yes.
And then in 2014.
Yeah, we jumped a bit.
We did. Well, we were just going on with stuff and building and building and building and creating and having huge meetings every month. Imagine having 40 people right now you wouldn't, but anyway, imagine having 40 people in a room together for a meeting every month.
Yeah. I'll say it again. All while raising our children.
Yes. Yeah. And the majority of the people in the room were raising kids.
Yeah.
And yet they found the time to get there. Whereas these days, that just doesn't happen.
No.
So it was a very optimistic and flourishing time. and then in 2014, so yes, we jumped 12 years ahead because we've just been going for it and doing amazing things. I was actually on a Skype training because by then we were doing Skype training. We obviously had email happening by then. And I had a huge shift in my life. A major event happened with my two eldest children who were dealing with drugs, mental health, and in the middle of the training, I had to stop and deal with something which then pretty much took over my life for the last few, 6 years. Although and what happened to me, Vicki?
You left the building.
I did.
So I remember getting a call from you. It must have been later that morning because we had a in-person meeting planned, and I got a call from you and you just said, I'm not coming. And I'm like, what?
Joe's not coming.
People are here. We're waiting for you. Like, what?
Yes.
And then you did exit for quite a while.
Well, actually, I didn't straight away. I probably did for the first, I think for about 5 months I Duna dived.
Yeah.
But then I did get back involved with you with another business that we looked at, and I jumped into it with such vigour, and I think it was really like, I need something to hold on to that's, other than all the crap that was going on in my life. And through that, yes, I know I was missing. I was a bit like that. I was a bit like a yo-yo for a while. But then in 2016, around June, we created Two Natural Ladies. Although I think at the beginning we didn't actually call ourselves Two Natural Ladies.
And it wasn't just, hey, let's be Two Natural Ladies.
No.
We just thought, let's, because we dragged ourselves into, obviously, email and Skype and all the technology that was coming through, and then Facebook. And then, it was like, let's do some videos. Like, we could talk about the products, we could talk to our team, we could talk to our customers.
Exactly. So we decided that there were other things that we could do.
So, Jo, what happened then?
Well, for a start, we had to push me into the 21st century because I was like, no, don't do that. But we really started to see that the way people did business was changing, and we really couldn't continue to do things the way we'd been doing things.
No.
Face-to-face was becoming, people weren't doing face-to-face as much. And the young mums, who are the people that we found were really interested in what we were doing, they really wanted to do things online and on Facebook and everything. So we started doing videos.
Yes, so and that's the thing, isn't it? We had to realise that we were no longer the young mums.
No, that was a bit sad.
Yeah, so it's we did it. We dragged each other, really.
Yes. Yeah, we did. And we learnt how to do emails, and we learnt social media, and we started doing our videos for our team to just explain the products better and how they worked and have a bit of fun. We love to have a bit of fun. We scripted our first videos and they are hysterical to look at.
And
so
you posted one of those.
I did.
Yeah.
It's just very funny to listen to and look at our first videos.
It's interesting to just see how far we've come.
I know.
Yeah.
In 3-4 years. Yeah. And then we started doing videos for our clients because we thought, well, they need to know more about it too. So we really started to do that. But then because, we couldn't have life just go smoothly now, could we? My second son, Michael, was arrested and after 12 months of being in remand was convicted and sentenced to 3 years, and that was it for me. With everything else that had gone on with my kids and there'd been a lot, I really shut down. And I think you noticed that a little bit, didn't you?
I did a little bit. I mean, you would at short notice just ring and say, I'm not coming. I'm not doing this. No, okay. But I actually, now I think about it, we still didn't stop. Like, we kept going.
Yes.
And then eventually you started to share that was your respite. That was your time to just escape. And, so our relationship, we didn't spend a lot of time talking about it. We just got on with stuff. We were like B1 and B2. We were just like, okay, let's play. Let's, I know what we're doing today, B1.
And it was that way. And it's one of the things I think that had us probably then branch out into talking about community participation, connection. Because what I saw was that the times that we were together, I was participating in life. To get me out of bed was really hard. I had to drag myself out. And as you said, there were times when it was just too hard and I couldn't. And again, for me, this was like, who is this person? Because I was the person who jumped out of bed, first thing in the morning, like, whoa, what's happening now?
As I said, you would pull me out of holes. Yeah.
So, but once we got together, as you said, I was participating in life and I wasn't thinking about all the other stuff. I was just being in life, having a ball, laughing, talking. So, it really was the thing that kept me going.
And then, we have dragged each other in and out of things, haven't we? So,
yes.
So then you were the one who actually said, look, let's start to talk about other stuff,
yes.
not just the products. And I was like, what? What are you talking about?
What else is there?
Yeah. So then we did, and we've had a ball talking about all sorts of things.
Oh, absolutely. And because of that, met all sorts of people and opened up and got to see people's vulnerabilities and, that we all deal with stuff. And, the people that we've had on the radio show, which of course was another thing that I sort of dragged you along into, because we had a mutual friend, Kay Cremond, who said, oh, you should do an interview with Lee Cummins, who used to be at 88.3 where we're doing this.
On a Monday morning?
Yes. And so we organised it, and it happened to be April Fool's Day last year, 2019. And
which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is,
yes.
because of what happened.
Yes.
Because I came along and Vicki didn't. Not that she wasn't trying to get there.
Yeah, so I clearly did not leave enough time, but I'd forgotten the trains were down. So I ended up in huge amount of very stopped traffic. And even my GPS was telling me to go a different way, and I'm like, what are you talking? I was like arguing with my GPS. What are you talking about? That is the long way. Turned out if I'd listened to my GPS, it would have been the shorter way.
Yes.
But the upshot is I got here just as the interview finished. I heard you. I was listening on the radio going, wow, you're sounding great. This is great.
Which was a real phew moment, because
Yes.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I hope this is working out. I mean, I was loving it.
Yeah.
I was loving every moment of it.
Yeah.
So, and Lee was so lovely that she actually allowed, you to come in and spend a bit of time.
At the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did get to hear you and speak to you.
We'd have to find that recording actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
and you, yes, and so there was, but it became a joke. Here's Jo, one of the two natural ladies.
Yes. Well, I do sometimes think, wow, what would happen, if one of us got sick and the other, particularly if it was me, Vicki would have a crash course. No,
I would be. No, it wouldn't work.
Right. But if it was the other way around, I could ring you.
Yes, you could.
Yes.
Seeing you're our panel expert at the radio station.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then July last year we started interviewing people and having our own radio show, which
we did, and then that was you dragging me in again, because I was like, Jo, I don't know how I'm going to fit this in. We don't have time for this. Yes,
and we do, don't we?
We found the time,
Yes.
of course. Yes,
and then out of this we create podcasts, and we're writing a book, and it has been that we've dragged each other through things over the years, and we've got so much more that we want to experience, and so many more adventures that we have together, and but we tend to live and breathe this poem.
Well, we do, but before we talk about
live and breathe the poem.
Well,
yes.
I just wanted to mention one of the big things.
Oh, yes.
One of our highlights.
Yes.
Was our holiday to Europe last year, and that came out of a two natural ladies retreat. We'd gone away, do you remember, to our holiday house, to my family's holiday house, and we were doing videos and writing our book, I believe.
Yes.
And at some point, we both talked about how we've been dreaming of going to Europe, but we're still waiting for our husbands to be interested. And we thought, why are we waiting for our husbands? Let's just do it.
I think I had a few tears, because Paris had been a dream for 5-10 years. And it became a reality.
Yes.
In September 2019.
Yes.
And
it
my
came
gosh,
together so beautifully.
It did.
And we spent half of our time in London.
Yes.
And we stayed at an amazing family's house.
Gosh, were we lucky. So fortunate.
Yeah, family of my stepmum, actually. And they were amazing hosts. And, just such, helped us create such beautiful memories.
Yes, and such generosity. It was wonderful. And, we travelled to Oxford, and we went to the village where Downton Abbey happened, which I think we'll probably have to go back, because I was very excited having watched Downton Abbey. Vicky's watched it since. So, but yeah, it was an amazing trip, and we certainly have many more of those in the future.
I think we do the Highclere tour actually next time.
Definitely. Yes. Yes. We'll have to make sure it's on at the time that we go.
Yes. Yeah, we'll plan our whole trip around that. So we have a poem that we've lived and breathed over many, many years. I think I might have discovered it very, very early on, actually, and it's got me through, and I'd say you through a lot of lot of interesting times. So here's the poem. This is called the Don't Quit poem. So when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, you want to smile but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint in the clouds of doubt. You may never tell how close you are, you may be near when it seems so far. So stick to your fight when you're hardest hit, because when things go wrong, you mustn't quit. And that's by John Greenleaf Whittier.
You've been listening to the Two Natural Ladies podcast. Visit twonaturalladies.com.au for more information. Thanks for joining us.